Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What do we got today, Ricardo?
We got the Week 14 waiver wire show.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
I'm going to try not to crowd you today. I feel like I was crowding you last week.
Is that so?
You know, the CDC says you should maintain 6 feet of distance between you and the next person. There is,
To be fair,
definitely not 6 feet between us.
I can't speak for you, but I pretty much quarantined myself other than here.
Yeah.
And one other person, so I think I'm okay. And if I get it, I'm just going to quarantine myself.
Like a COVID case?
Nope. We thought we did.
All right. My family neither. Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I'm not a superstitious.
jinx it.
I'm not a superstitious person outside of when I'm watching the Super Bowl. But yeah, no, I don't have COVID cases. But anyway, welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon, as always, with us. I think we've only done like 2 shows all time without Rick.
It was 2 shows, yeah.
So,
and,
what?
both shows.
Oh god.
Oh, they're good. I thought you did a good job.
Oh, you listened to them?
I did, yeah. Well, I didn't listen to the whole thing for the second one. But I remember, I think the first one I did because I was on vacation.
It's not easy.
I was on Myrtle Beach, bro.
Green
and you're like, dude, we got to record. I'm like, bro, what?
What do you? Yeah. Well, see, now I can do it wherever you are.
True.
Because of Zoom.
If I have my laptop.
Good luck if you have your laptop. So today we have our Week 14 waiver wire. This is it. Fantasy playoffs are here. I had a tough week.
Do you guys remember the last show when we were talking about our teams and Morgan said that he was up by like 30 points? It was so unlikely that I would outscore him. I outscored him by 30 points. So I outscored him on the season in our home league.
His team still isn't better than mine.
It's not. I admit it. It's not.
See, you got like 40 points from Marvin.
Although I will say the graph that you showed like my team and like I had like 2 guys on my bench that I was going to start. Like you put in my crappy lineup.
I just screenshotted it. Don't judge.
You ignored the bench though.
What? Okay.
I had like good players on my bench that I was going to start.
You want me to show them that you had Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley?
James Washington just got a 50-yard touchdown.
Oh, good luck with that.
I have Juju.
We are recording this on Monday,
Yeah.
and we're watching this Steelers game as we record. Rick needs 22 points from Juju.
I'm in the playoffs. I just want the bye, and to get the bye, I need.
That's in our staff league.
Yeah, it is. I would like Juju to get 22
In
points.
case you're wondering, the staff league.
Yeah, Fantasy Champion Staff League.
We have me and Rick are at the top. Adam's at the top, and Austin is at the top. Is that correct? So we're trying to win. I'm trying to take this thing away from everyone. I drafted Mike Thomas and Devontae Adams.
What? Did I say anything? I didn't say anything.
So anyway, waiver wire for Week 14 is here.
Oh yeah, that.
And we're gonna talk about guys that you should pick up for this week, and for the coming weeks. Actually, we'll probably just stick to this week because we can't really forward think that far ahead. But yeah, that's for tomorrow's show. So anyway, we're going to give you waiver wire ads. Before we do that, check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps, on Instagram at TheFantasyChampions. You can like us at Facebook.com/TheFantasyChampions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, what are you going to do, Rick?
Oh gosh, I wasn't listening again. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Oh, I got it right.
Alrighty. Leave a review or share this podcast with your friends. Subscribing is the best way to support this show. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. We're very, very close to 200, so get us there. And if you get us to 1,000 on the season,
then
Rick shaves his head.
Yeah.
Or I shave Rick's head.
Yeah. You
must wonder where the punishment comes in for me. It doesn't.
What do you mean punishment?
Not really punishment, celebration. But I know you want your hair.
No, because I actually have been meaning to cut my hair. I'm just too lazy. So this would be a good excuse to do it.
So be sure to subscribe. Click the bell for notifications for whenever we post a video. Like and comment down below any questions you have. We also, next week, we are going to be doing a playoff question and answer format show on Wednesday. So if you have any questions pertaining to that, please be sure to drop them in the comments on any of the videos that you watch this week. So be sure to do that. So let's jump right into our waiver wire ads for the week. So this is the biggest week of the year. This is the biggest week of the year for you in terms of matchup. You win, you make it to the next round. You get to week 15, the quarterfinals of your fantasy championship.
Yep.
And you are, what is that? Is that quarterfinals or is it semifinals?
Because semifinals is the game before the championship.
Semis.
So this is the quarterfinals.
So, if they win this week,
yes,
they'll be in.
Yes.
See, I got it.
You got it right.
You fact checked my fact check.
Sorry.
It's confusing the hell
Alex
out
Smith, dude, come on, throw the ball more than 2 yards.
So, anyway, we have. We're going to try to do our best to give you these QB streaming options. Rick,
this is a playoff streaming option.
I know it's hard because I don't want to screw it up. I'm trying to pick the right league here. All right, give us one guy, Rick.
Sam Darnold versus Seattle. No, don't do that. Do not do that.
What's wrong with that?
I'm
just kidding.
In theory, that's actually really.
There was a point in the offseason where you were like, okay, I definitely want to put like Sam Darnold on a list of breakout quarterbacks. I talked him out of it.
Do I regret it?
Yes. No. Oh no, not for a second.
So for me, we're streaming. So unfortunately, in week 14, there's a lot of bad quarterbacks with fantastic matchups. For example, Sam Darnold against Seattle, Mitch Trubisky against Houston, Andy Dalton in the revenge game against Cincinnati.
Andy Dalton's not playing Cincinnati, is he?
He is, yeah.
Wow, dude, my computer's like 6 weeks behind.
Yeah, you gotta go week 14.
You're right. Andy Dalton,
Drew Lock against Carolina, like all these awful matchups. Fantastic matchups with poor quarterbacks. You can take your chance with one of those. I would try to stream a more, I want to say like sure thing quarterback if he's available. So like if Teddy Bridgewater is available, for example, I would rather see. I don't know. It is this week is really because it's playoff week, right? Yeah. So you're trying to get the guaranteed win. So it really depends on your line of thinking. Because if you just want the safe bet, Teddy Bridgewater, I think is the guy to go with this week. I want to see he's playing Denver.
Yeah.
At home with the weapons he has, he's pretty much consistently gets a solid 15 to a little more than 15. He gets like a solid like 20 points a week, would you say?
Yeah.
On good matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he even has a ceiling of like 25. So he's a guy who's a safe bet. He's a solid quarterback. He's a guarantee to play to get you at least 15 points. Right. Or you could take your chance on like a Mitch Trubisky against Houston.
Yeah.
If I was taking my chance on like the crappy quarterbacks of good matchups, he's the guy I'd play this week. He's up against Houston.
Yeah.
He's not a great real life quarterback, but he has always put up decent fantasy numbers.
Right.
Especially on bad teams, so good matchups like Houston. So I would play Mitch Trubisky this week if I'm feeling risky, but if you want the safe bet, Teddy Bridgewater's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what is available at this point, I would be scared to start anyone. Yeah.
This is a curse for trying to stream quarterbacks.
It's funny. It really is. It's funny because if I was streaming quarterbacks, I probably would have picked up the guys that I wanted like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In our home league 3 weeks ago, when I had a chance, I contemplated picking up 3 different defenses just for the playoffs, so I didn't have to deal with everyone battling for the defensive spots.
Right.
And I was like, maybe I should just focus on getting wins. That didn't happen. But for quarterbacks, you're kind of at the bottom of the barrel. And Trubisky's not like a horrible ad. But the last 2 games he had 20 points against Green Bay. And he had 13 against Detroit in a game that he probably should have done a little bit better. So I really just don't trust that with him. There's no like if I'm desperate enough to start Trubisky, then I'm screwed.
Yeah. And that's the problem with streaming quarterbacks this year. I feel like it's been sort of a bad thing. It's just sort of a difficult thing. Like, would you like Ben Roethlisberger if he's available in your league? I doubt he is, but he's playing Buffalo. That's not
You
bad.
keep putting Roethlisberger on this list, and he's like a top 10 quarterback.
I know he's a QB 11, so
Yeah, so it's not Roethlisberger.
probably not. But like some of the medium or the middle of the pack guys like Derek Carr playing against the Colts. I'm not trying to start Derek Carr against the Colts.
Yeah.
Jared Goff against New England. I'm not trying to start Jared Goff against New England on a Thursday night. No, thank you.
No way.
Matt Stafford against Green Bay.
What are the chances Jared
Maybe.
Goff gets -1 fantasy point?
It's higher than I think. It's like at least like
It's higher than him reaching 20.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leaves like Teddy Bridgewater. Would you play Taysom Hill again over all the guys we talked about? He's up against Philly.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a great matchup, but it's not like the worst matchup in the world.
Yeah, I would do that. He's going to score rushing touchdowns.
But Taysom Hill's probably owned at this point now since he was
yeah.
the stream of the week last week.
I mean, the only guy that I think you referenced that makes sense is I wouldn't even.
You were gonna say Andy Dalton, but you don't want to.
No, I can't. I mean, you could throw a Drew Lock maybe, but there's just nothing available.
I don't want to Drew Lock.
This last time he had easy matchups was 20-30-10 against the Chargers, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. I mean, he's had tough matchups for a majority of the season, but he's just not worth it. There's just nothing left. There's nothing left. I hate to instill confidence in the fantasy champion community heading into week 14 with our stream of
This is the hardest week to stream in the playoffs, so I think.
Yeah, I
Looking
just
at the
don't know
matchups.
of a guy that I can look at and go, oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna.
There
this
is
guy's
no
gonna be very good.
like I said, I think Teddy Bridgewater is the guy I'd go after if he's owned in your league or if he's not owned in your league.
Yep.
I think Matt Stafford's decent. If Taysom Hill's available, go get him. And if none of these guys are available and you got to take a flyer on one of the crappy quarterbacks, like an Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky, a Drew Lock, or a Sam Darnold, the guy I would choose of those four is Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. TMC just dropped it. Whatever, bro.
We're Washington. Watching the Washington football team play the Steelers, and it's not going great for either of our fantasy teams.
My percentage on sleeper of beating Adam.
We're both going to make the playoffs in the staff league, so
is dropping by the second.
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It really, even if you beat him, don't you play him anyway in the playoffs?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So it literally doesn't matter.
It's
that
it's
matchup's
the
already
fight for
set.
the home team.
Yeah, you really want home field advantage in fantasy football.
I do. I want home field advantage. So let's talk about our waiver wire ads at the running back position and try to make this slightly more substantive than the quarterback position just was. So obviously, as you head into the fantasy playoffs, I've said week after week, handcuffs are the biggest thing that you can. If Ezekiel Elliott were to go down and Tony Pollard is on your waiver wire, and then you get into a bidding match with everyone and you didn't pick him up before that happens, that's your own fault. Not that you have Ezekiel Elliott and you're in the fantasy playoffs, but that's just a
True.
that is just a variable that happens. So I think for me, you have to pick up your handcuffs, obviously, but Swift has been dealing with this concussion for a couple of weeks now, and he's been struggling with it. And
Is that blood?
I don't. It kind of looks like blood.
Yikes. Again, we're watching the game as we're trying to record a podcast. It looks like
I could put this live on. They're literally just taping his foot.
Is that Alex Smith? No. I don't know what player that is. Can they show the who? Oh, it is Alex Smith.
What the freak? Anyway,
Dang.
all right. So, I would say without DeAndre Swift, Adrian Peterson is the number one guy.
Yes, 100%.
And I think he hasn't really had I don't want to say he's had a bad season. I mean, he hasn't been great.
He averages like 8 points a game.
Yeah. So, but I think in the fantasy
When he
playoffs,
starts.
if you need a flex play and you're at this point,
Last 2 weeks.
last 2 weeks he's had 17 fantasy points each, and he has Green Bay this week. So, I would feel safe, especially when you talk about when did Patricia get fired?
I think after the Houston game, right? So this was the first game they played without him.
Yeah. So he had 2 rushing touchdowns in each one of those games. I don't think that's going to continue happening, but like I said, if you do need a flex play this week, he is playing the Green Bay Packers. It is a really easy matchup, and I would pick up Peterson and slide him into that spot real easy.
There's a chance that Swift comes back.
Yes, and if that happens, I think it's you can't start Peterson.
I don't think
this week,
Antonio
but-
Gibson is going to play. this week. I don't know who they are playing. They're playing San Francisco.
Is that
so
McKissick?
Or Peyton Barber, which is gross for both. Yeah. I think if you have Gibson and you want to slide one of those guys in, maybe against San Francisco, it's kind of a tough matchup. And then same thing, Josh Jacobs might not play this week again. And Booker didn't even do good against the Jets, and he's playing the Colts this week. So
I think Booker's hurt too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too thrilled with either of those guys. But Peterson's a good one. I think Peterson out of all those guys is probably the guy I'd feel most confident about.
Yeah.
Is Wayne Galliman injured? Because I see they have somebody's on this list. Oh wait, I think I was looking at standard.
I don't know why Alfred Morris is on this list. Hold on. It says that he scored 2 touchdowns and win over Seahawks. Giants running back Alfred Morris rushed 8 times for 39 yards, caught his only target. Fellow running back Wayne Gallman rushed 16 times for 135 yards, but it was Morris who found his way into the end zone. I wouldn't pick up Alfred Morris.
I was like, did Gallman get hurt?
The only other guy that I would say, it looks like Brian Hill is getting most of the work in Atlanta with Todd Gurley out. Dirk Cutter confirmed on Monday that Todd Gurley's injury it's a knee injury, and he is probably going to miss more time. So if that's the case, I would pick up Idaho Smith and possibly start him this week. I don't know who he's playing. Let me just check that really fast. I believe it's the Chargers, so that's a good matchup for him.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I know Chris Carson's been battling some injuries, so he's still playing, but they haven't really used him, kind of like they did last year as much. Would you consider picking up Carlos Hyde and playing him, even if Chris Carson's there against the Jets?
Yeah, I would consider it. I'd also consider. Never mind.
This is some deep diving here in week 14.
Yeah, if Chris Carson doesn't play, I do think Carlos Hyde is a very, very
if he
good
doesn't play, then Carlos Hyde is a top 10 running back.
Yeah. But I'm not picking up if you want to get ahead of the curve and pick up pick up Carlos Hyde in case Chris Carson gets hurt, which is about a 90% chance. I would be totally okay with doing that, but the running back position. If you don't have a running back at this point in the season,
we're in the playoffs. You really look like.
You're in a tough spot.
I don't think you're in. How did you make the playoffs? That'd be my first question.
I don't know. Why didn't you ask Austin?
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah. So let's talk about the wide receiver position. Obviously, number one guy on this list, Kiki Couti, with literally everyone dead. He's now the number one wide receiver for Houston. Who would have said that 3 weeks ago? He had 9 targets, 8 receptions, 141 yards. I don't believe he caught a touchdown, but he did have. Okay, that's return yards. Sorry, I thought it was rushing yards. I got excited. I was like, wow, okay. He's going to add 200 all-purpose yards to that total. No, he had 8 catches, 141 yards, did not catch a touchdown, 18 fantasy points. He doesn't have a good matchup against Chicago for the next 2 weeks against Chicago and Indianapolis. So it is a little bit tougher to play him, but Houston's offense has been good.
I was going to say, it doesn't really matter because I think they're going to throw the ball a lot anyway.
Yeah, he
might not get a touchdown, but he's still going to get
I don't know. Are they really, though? Could they just blow the doors off the Bears this week? And I don't think they can do that.
Houston? Yeah. Oh, no. Houston's not going to do anything.
Chicago blows, though.
They do blow.
But anyway, Kiki Couti, probably the ad. This could be... the schedule makes me a little more hesitant to say this, but this could be a guy coming off the waiver wire that could win a league, especially when you look at the matchup in Week 16, because you don't even have to start him this week and next week, but Week 16 he has Cincinnati, and so that is a very, very good matchup for him. Last week he did come off that was a matchup against Indianapolis that he got those 18 points, and he plays Indy in Week 15, so I think he might be a good start there as well. But Chicago, it's tough sledding, so he's going to get a lot of targets. I just don't know if they're going to be efficient targets, but he is probably the ad of the week.
Yeah, I think if you had Will Fuller, hopefully you picked up Kiki Couti.
Oh yeah.
Because he's going to get those targets 100%. So you said that he could be a league winner. He honestly could. with the amount he's going to get used in that offense, he's going to be the lead target guy. And as much as Houston isn't great, their offense is still pretty good.
Yeah.
And they throw the ball very well. So he could really win some leagues. And if you have any waiver budget at all left, put it all on him.
Yeah, I would pick him up immediately. Outside of that, there's not a whole ton of guys left. Some guys with some good schedules. Both Jets wide receivers are available with Darnold being back. It might mean good things for Denzel Mims, who had nothing this week. 3 targets, 2 receptions. I wouldn't pick him up. And then Perriman is also currently available. Oops, I just backed out of that. Perriman is also available. He had a total of 4 targets last week. So, I mean, either they're both gross, but they both have good rest of season schedules. I just don't see anyone else on this list that I would add besides Kiki Couti.
Tim Patrick's not awful. He had 2 touchdowns this past week. But he's still kind of like
with Drew Lock back, I would be okay. But he didn't get a lot of targets either, and his schedule was just god awful rest of season.
Although Carolina, like, even though they've been pretty good against receivers, they struggle against quarterbacks. So there's a chance, and their defense isn't the best. So Tim Patrick could have a decent week this week.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have Kiki Couti though. And then Ruggs and Rieger, the 2 rookies, like, are you? Even with Jalen Hurts there, I'm still not.
I mean, Rieger's schedule rest of season is not horrible. He has New Orleans, Arizona, and Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. It's just like he since coming back from his injury against Dallas, the Giants, Cleveland, Seattle, he's had 6, 7, 5, and 7 in terms of target share.
Yep.
But he hasn't really turned it into anything. Hasn't scored any touchdowns over that stretch besides the one against Dallas. And he's not turning those into catches either. So it's like, and then he had this week against Green Bay 1 target, 1 reception for 34 yards, and
the only reason he had a good fantasy week was because he had that punt return for like 60 yards for a touchdown. He's an explosive player. I'd like to see him get more targets. I just don't know.
I mean, he might be a good add in case Hurts starts using him more if they start Hurts next week.
Yeah.
Like if he comes in and he's actually kind of the key to the offense and he starts targeting Jalen Rieger a lot. Then
we talk about Rieger though every show.
I know we literally talk about Rieger every show, but I could see him. I don't want Ruggs. Like I would stay very, very far away. I distance
unfortunately
myself. Ruggs doesn't get any targets. Not only does he not get any targets, but his playoff schedule is just god awful. Yeah. It's bad. So
Laviska Shenault, you think he's or Gabriel Davis? One of those 2 guys?
Gabriel Davis might be a good add.
With John Brown out for the season?
With John Brown out for the season. He had 4 targets, 3 receptions for 79 yards this week and a touchdown. So he had a decent performance. Wide receiver 16.
This past week.
I'm sorry. That was against the Chargers. Yeah. We haven't watched the Bills. Did they play Monday night?
They play Tuesday.
This team plays Tuesday?
Yeah. It's a Tuesday game.
Oh, whatever. So anyway, but you were listening to the show before that game happened. I don't know.
They do play tonight.
It's either Monday night or Tuesday night. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, so they play San Francisco. So watch out to see what happens there. But in the game against the Chargers, he did have 4 targets, 3 receptions, 79 yards, and a touchdown in that game. So he could be a decent add. I'd pick him up this week if you have the opportunity. But outside of that, I think the wide receiver position is pretty cold.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then, let's shoot our shot with the tight ends. This is the largest tight end list I've seen all season.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say the last couple weeks, we talked about Ross Dwelly at the tight end position for the San Francisco 49ers, and I don't know what happened to that.
He had 2 targets and 1 catch.
The last 2 weeks, Jordan Reed has had 6 targets per game. Last week against the Rams, he did not turn that into anything. He had 2 catches. But the week before, he had 5. He plays on Tuesday. Is that correct? He plays tonight?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So watch the game against Buffalo. See what happens. It's either Tuesday or Monday. One of the 2. But another guy.
I'm 95% sure it's
another guy to watch to see if he does have a good matchup against Buffalo. But he has Washington, Dallas, Arizona in the playoffs, which is not a horrible schedule. It's probably one of the better waiver wire tight end schedules left, and the fact that he's getting 6 targets a game, I mean, you can't ask for anything better on the waiver wire at this point for tight ends.
Yeah, I think the only other guy I'd say who's only owned in 25% leagues, the number 1 guy on this list is Dalton Schultz. He gets like 6 targets a game, which for a tight end is really good.
But the Dallas Cowboys just blow.
Cowboys do blow, but Week 14, the revenge game for Andy Dalton against the Bengals, baby.
They also play on Tuesday, so we don't know what Dalton Schultz's performance was, but
Yeah.
he does convert a lot of his targets, though, which is good. I think his biggest problem is all tight ends have this difficulty attached to them, and it's that if unless your name is Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, or T.J. Hawkinson, if you don't catch a touchdown, you're gonna have a bad fantasy week as a tight end.
Yeah.
And I think that Dalton Schultz is one of those guys that does get targeted quite a bit, but he doesn't put up enough yardage to justify having him in your starting lineup every week. So against Cincinnati week 14, he could catch a touchdown. That could be the week where he pops the question there. And if that happens, you win.
You win.
You did good. Good job. But we have 3 more of these waiver wire shows to go. So hopefully we don't spend too much time talking about Dalton Schultz and Jordan Reed any longer. What about Logan Thomas? He has a bad schedule, but
Yeah. What is he doing right now? I think he has like 1 catch this game. 2 catches.
yeah, I don't know.
For like 20
but
yards.
he has Seattle, Carolina, and San Francisco.
Yeah. No, Logan Thomas is good. I think he's in the same level as like Dalton Schultz and Jordan Reed. Like he's in that category.
Yeah, and then everyone talks about Anthony Ferguson.
I
Ferguson
don't know why.
is just 7-5, 51 yards. What is that? That's in half PPR. That's 7.5 fantasy points. Pretty good game. 8 fantasy points, says right here.
Yeah.
Tight end 14 finish.
How long is Jonnu out, though?
That's if Jonnu's out.
Yeah.
Anthony Ferguson would be a good ad. But anyway, there's our waiver wire list. Is there anyone else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. That'll be our list. That'll be our preparation for your week 14 matchups to start. Hopefully any of your claims go through in your favor. Be sure to check out our website, thefantasychampion.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we will talk to you tomorrow. We're doing league-winning players.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.